We're getting well into the fall, and I've got to do some beekeeping out here in my apiary, so stay tuned and we'll do some maintenance. Hello folks, welcome back to Pine Meadows Hobby Farm, a frugal homestead up in the Cascade Ranges of southwestern Oregon. In the Pacific Northwest, I'm in my apiary taking care of my Saskatchewan's bees, and I'm running a little behind. So we're going to remove the honey super and collect the honey. We'll collect the honey in another video, but I just got to remove the super and check out the bee frames, make sure they got plenty going into the winter, see how the overall health of the hive is doing, and we'll go from there. I got to go get suited up, and I'll be right back. Okay. This is my unconventional beekeeper's suit. I got a typical beekeeper's bonnet. I got welding gloves from Harbor Freight, and I have never, ever been stung in my hands through these thick gloves. And then I just got a double-lined windbreaker, which is white in color, which really helps. So, tools I'm going to use is my bee brush, my hive tool, and my frame lifter. So, let's get this off. See what we got going on in here. Ooh. We got action going on up here. Hello. Sorry, girl. Okay, this is tricky. Yeah. I'm going to pull this off. And set it down. That is heavy with honey. Now, This is the queen excluder, and this keeps the queen down below in the lower chambers and keeps her from going up into the honey super, so she doesn't lay eggs in the honey, because I don't want to have bee larvae in my honey. But look at this pattern up here. That is awesome. And look at all this propolis. They got that sealed in. So let's try to get this off. I know. I kind of don't want to leave the queen excluder on during the winter. Squirt them down with sugar water, and that way they get busy licking each other and cleaning each other, and it kind of masks that odor of needing to defend the hive. Okay, here's where I need to oh, this is a wonderful hive. Wonderful. Okay, let's see how much work they've done. Okay, they're just drawing that out. They got honey in here. Okay. This one's really heavy. Okay, the rest of those are empty. That's a good pattern in there, and it goes all the way down through the other box. Let's see that other box. Okay, we'll put the inner cover back on. Oh my God, that's heavy, yeah. Oh wow. I think they're going to be set for the winter. I'm going to go ahead and put this inner cover, this outer cover on. That super was incredibly heavy, which is a very incredibly good sign. that it's loaded with honey. Now, when you harvest honey, harvest only from the honey super from your beehive. Don't harvest any honey in these brood chambers below the queen excluder, because you'll end up with honey that is, well, some of it's mixed with probably brood. But what you're looking for, I can tell just by looking at that and so listening to that, that is a very healthy hive. So going back on saying, you've got to leave a lot of honey for the bees to get them through winter, because that's their nutrients to help them survive the winter. So basically, don't take any more than maybe 25% of their honey. And the same way with foraging. When you're foraging, don't take any more than 25% of what's there, because you need the other mother crop to reproduce, so you have an ongoing supply of whatever you're harvesting. That's just the wise and prudent thing to do as a caretaker for the environment and caring for your bees. They'll appreciate you if you leave them some food. So I'm going to go put my stuff away. It wasn't too traumatic on the bees or me. So, my plan going into winter is to make sure that the bees have plenty to eat. I'll keep them fed now that the nectar flow is slowing down, because that way it keeps the colony strong and thriving. Okay. When you're doing, especially this time of year doing beekeeping, you want to make sure you have a nice, warm, sunny day and the wind is not blowing. And like the bees are actively flying, they're still going out and collecting what pollen and nectar they can get, and some propolis, and bring back to the hive to get themselves set up and ready for winter. So let's see, I started this last spring. I think this will be my first winter with these Saskatchewan bees, so this is a great experiment to see how well these do. This is a Canadian crossbreed of bee. So in another day, I'm going to go ahead and go in and inspect all of the frames. We'll medicate them as needed, especially American foul brood is what we're looking for. I don't think we may have, but I haven't heard of European foul brood here yet. And I know Australia hasn't had any of that, but I'm not aware of them having any yet. And it's just icky. You have to destroy your whole hives. There's mites. There's the varroa mite and the trachea mite that you have to treat for. And we inspect on a bottom board to do a count to find out. I did a video on inspecting and treating for the varroa mite in a previous video. I'll leave a link to it at the end of this video so you can see what we did, and also inspecting the hives and looking for what I'm looking for is brood pattern, things like that. But this time of year, we're not necessarily looking for brood patterning. We're looking for to make sure they have plenty of honey, the colony's big, because you need that mass to create the heat for the other bees and the queen. And yeah, there's something else I learned about bees. The lifespan of a winter bee is longer than the lifespan of a spring, summer, and fall bee. And the reason for this is they literally work themselves to death. So when you've got the spring blooms and the summer flow and then the last minute preparations in the fall for like when the trees are starting to weep their sap, you want to, the bees are busy, 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 so they're literally beating their wings to death, working themselves to death, so they have a very short lifespan. So the queen is busy laying brood and making more babies. In the wintertime, they're not so much interested in making babies as they are surviving, keeping warm. And maybe the queen raises them. I haven't noticed any, but we'll check into that, and I'll get back to you on winter brood. But winter bee, the reason why they survive much longer than the summer, spring, fall bee is because they're basically stoved up into the hive. And when they're stoved up into the hive, they don't fly out and use all that energy and get themselves beat up being exposed out there and working so hard. They're doing all the work inside of the hive in relative close distance because their sisters that preceded them all stored up all the honey, the nectar, the honey, the propolis, which is their medicine, and then also the pollen patties, which is their protein, is laid it up in store for the winter bees to survive through the winter. And then the cycle starts all over again going into summer. So I am not an expert beekeeper. I'm not an expert at anything. I'm learning beekeeping as I go along. I know a heck of a lot more now than I did when I started. And these videos are not necessarily how-to videos. They're just demonstrating how I'm learning how I'm doing it and gleaning information from others who have had a lot of success. I've had a lot of failures up here, and that's primarily due to pesticides, with neighbors spraying illegal pesticides on their illegal crops, if you know what I mean. So this spring, I think it's March, I'm going to go down to Orland, California to the OB festival, honeybee festival. And I'm pre-ordering three, maybe four more queens with their little colonies so I can populate the rest of my hives. And an 8-frame hive that I got set up for the what's that thing called? It's the newfangled bee thing. My daughter wants one over at her place in her garden. So we'll get her set up with a colony of bees as well. But I do have to save up for those because a queen with a colony is about $115, I think. Maybe more, maybe less. I'm not sure. I forgot what I paid for these. But I'm going to be scraping and saving all winter long and selling bark from my trees and other things to be able to bring in more Saskatchewan bees to the homestead. Now, I gotta go somehow get that honey out of the combs because I don't have an extractor. I'll probably do it the old-fashioned way. I'm your host, Jerry Hansen. This is Pine Meadows Hobby Farm. We're a frugal homestead tucked high in the Cascade Ranges of the Pacific Northwest and Southwestern Oregon. Please stay tuned to more videos. You can do that by subscribing and clicking that bell icon that alerts you to new videos as I upload them. Clicking that share button and sharing my videos on your social media platforms really helps out the channel a lot. And you can follow me on social media. I'm currently posting Twitter, Facebook, Pinterest, Reddit, Blogger, Tumblr, Parlor.com, and LinkedIn. And don't forget to give me a thumbs up and leave a comment. We'll see you guys in the next video. It might be sweet. No pun intended. Bye.